Hello.
Ah, we can hear you.
I had it muted so that background noise didn't bother your presentation. I figured people wanted to hear Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Yes, surprise, surprise. Some of us actually know each other.
Yep, hello, my name's Colin.
Cat back.
This question is for Miriam, principally. I came across somebody who'd been stung in Australia by 4 jellyfish. And eventually, after a strike, I won't go through the whole story, but he died. And he was taken to hospital. And then eventually, he found himself in what I call a very dark place, what he called a very dark place. He didn't know where he was. He knew that he had a body. He knew that he had feelings. He knew thinking. And he could hear these other people saying, shut up, shut up, shut up. And he realized that it was his thoughts that they were hearing. Now, I then met somebody else, and I started doing this work, and I found that these people in a very dark place used to try and take the energy of people who are still alive on the planet because they know that they're looking for energy. And I find them popping in through the crown chakra. And they've all suffered trauma and died through trauma. And so I take them out of this place, and these to me are human beings, and I tell them that they've died, and I give them a healing, clear their energy bodies, rebalance them, etc., and send them on the journey they should have been on. The question is really, because you were talking about ETs down under the earth as well. So I'm really interested to know what you know about these people who die in trauma or get buried under the earth, please.
I do take your question serious. Ooh, and now it's really loud. I think we're just starting to understand in what dimensions, in what layers that we're connected with. These beings are stuck, or where they present themselves, or where they are hidden. So yes, and I think the jellyfish is one of the hardest ones to approach, to be honest. There are a lot of entities of which you can say they're not human. I was not happy to meet some of them, I can tell you, but the fact that you are able to connect with layers where they are hidden or where they hide, which are two different things, makes it important for us to be more intuitive. And the fact that it is possible to use your intuition to figure out where they are and why they are there and why you are confronted with them. Because everyone, to me, every client that comes to me with an entity or a trauma or whatever has something to tell me as well. It goes always two ways. But the fact that they show up, they want to be heard, they want to be noticed, they do steal energy, but they also like to find their peace as well. If they are not peaceful, they are there to wake you up. Is that an answer? I cannot see you, so...
Yeah. Yes, I was really wondering what you do to rescue them. Whether it seems that what I do is the right thing, but I'm dealing with humans. It never occurred to me before that any of them would be ETs.
Okay. Thank you. We've got 10 people here. Anybody wants to ask a question, could you please queue up on the stairs? Okay, next question.
Hi, Brad. Something occurred to me when I was looking at your photographs. You know, with the blackleg tappy, that I haven't pronounced properly, it seems as if some technology was used to deliberately bury that under sand. Has it occurred to you that, given what was in the area of Antarctica before, do you think some technology may have been used to deliberately bury that under snow and ice?
Yeah, I mean, the ice is millions of years old. Well, at least hundreds of thousands of years old since the last pole shift, when the continent shifted to their present location. Was there technology involved in the building of these cities? Yeah, for sure. It has to be. Mother Nature does not create perfect right-angle grid pattern layouts of cities. The fact that they're 2 miles under the ice would suggest that a high-tech civilization built them. Whether they're still in existence or are just the remnants of an old system is question. And that's why I was saying with Thomas, he was showing me a bunch of his Antarctica Google Earth maps, and you have also some evidence too that there was civilization. Maybe you can address that question.
Civilizations on Antarctica, yeah. The satellites, we are looking at Landsat satellite, that's the Google Earth satellites. And I have had examples of constructions in the middle of nowhere, and we were sitting and looking at something we found yesterday on the computer during the conference here, and that looked suspicious and weird. But there was also another thing. Is it okay if I mention the pyramid?
Oh,
the
yeah,
size
please
of
do.
it? Yeah. Because the famous pyramid that's from Antarctica, everybody has said that it was 2 kilometers wide each direction, and it comes from those who came up, not those necessarily who found it, but the first ones who came through on social media with the post. Therefore, everybody just took it for granted that it's 2 kilometers because it's on Facebook, it's 2 kilometers, therefore it is 2 kilometers. Me and Brad was just measuring it with the Google Earth tools, and it turns out to be not only, but 400 meters in each direction, which is like 130 meters wider than the pyramids in Egypt. So it's still a huge construction if it is a pyramid that is there, and it's still big, but it's not 2 kilometers wide. And this is also some of the things I do also for other people. When they come with their picture, I size check it before they comes out with it.
And you showed your diagram of the big square city on Mars compared to the Copenhagen airport as well as the Giza Plateau. 2 kilometers is pretty far. That's almost a mile and a half.
Yeah.
So you can see with the Giza pyramid, it's even much smaller than 400 meters.
270 something, I can't even remember. That's not on Mars.
There is still a bunch of question whether or not those pyramids, and I have several locations in my book and showed you a couple, if they're just natural formations. Because one of the people that I talked to who does trips down there, the logistics manager, he called them nunataks, which are just attractive mountains poking through the ice. And there are characteristics on some of those pyramids that they're mountain-like. I can't say with certainty that they were built with intelligent hand, but if I ever were to go back down to Antarctica, certainly the Ellsworth Range pyramid, which is called the Great Pyramid of Antarctica, I'd like to stop there and do a sample or climb it. Because I asked the same thing to this logistics guy, and he's like, oh no, we just fly over it, we see it. And I said, don't you ever stop there and go check it out? No, it's just a nunatak. So I think the jury's still out on the pyramids, whether they're natural formations or built with intelligent hands. And if they were built with intelligent hands, that's a complete game changer. Then you have the smoking gun that there was intelligent life building these formations down there.
Okay, I can't remember who said what, but black goo was mentioned at one point, and that reminded me about Harold Kautz-Vella, and some people were talking here today about spiders and scuttlers and things like that, and from what I remember with one of his interviews with Miles, Harold had quite a terrible time with, I guess he would call it possession by these entities, whatever you want to call them. I wondered if anybody on the panel could elaborate from their own experiences or what they thought about what Harold said.
Well, I have a chapter on the black goo in Secrets of Antarctica book, and I also recount a conversation that Miles and I had online recounted in the book about the black goo, because right here at the BASES conference, Harold Kautz-Vella and David Griffin did fantastic presentations on the black goo, and if people should go and watch those videos if they can. It is a sentient fluid. It is what the Falkland Wars was all about, and the Brits went down there. Miles, maybe you'd like to.
Yeah, well, we know all that. Dr. Amir or would Drago or anybody else within the team understand more depth with that question?
If I
So,
may.
sorry, but Brad, just moving on.
So if I may, these are usually non-physical, starting from the lower astral, moving to dimension 5, 6. Some of them, depending on their point of origination, are more intelligent. The lowest level of sentience usually affects the feet, disconnecting the human being from the intelligence and the energy of Earth. Highly damaging, especially when it comes to the health of the physical body. So the bodies are the gift of Mother Earth. Of course, the sentience of the planet has a massive role in our well-being. More evolved forms of parasitic, let's call them in the general terms, implants do exist, taking the form of jellyfish, spiders, little entities that would look like a sperm cell, tiny little mechanical devices, and so they do affect different areas. Most damaging ones are attached to higher energy centers in the head, which would deal with understanding the language of your soul, intuition, telepathy, but also connecting you to other branches of you across timelines and dimensions. Removing them is possible and actually straightforward. It should not be a cause for concern or fear. Our ancestors have dealt with this across time and memorial.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Bring Penny in, please. Does Penny have, but she's been hanging on for an hour. Penny, do you have anything you want to say on that?
If I understood the question, it was about black goo?
Yes.
Okay. When I served with Nachtwaffen in space, the position I held was navigator, and I was required to drink black goo as part of my job. So I have had a very intimate, long-term relationship with that particular AI. Black goo is a sentient AI in liquid form. And when you join with it, that's the best description I can give you. You are still there. You're not erased, but you're no longer in the driver's seat in your own life. The reason that we do it is it doubles or triples your IQ within an hour and stays that way. The black goo makes sure that the host body stays healthy. So you're stronger, you have better health, you live longer, you're able to accomplish more. The reason that the Germans use this in their space program is we got out there. We found out that our smartest people were not able to compete with anything out there as an extraterrestrial. Now, I'm not talking about the interdimensionals that Dr. Amir does. I'm talking about real physical beings who are basically just like us with other bodies, except they're 3 times as smart as we are. And they were completely manipulating the Germans. The only way they could compete was to have their officer class use black goo. So I've done 91, 60 NBACs, as a navigator with the German fleet. So I have long experience with this particular thing. It makes you incredibly intelligent. It entrains your brain for logic, but it comes at the expense of your humanity. So when I was sent
Okay, Penny,
back,
I'm going to cut you off. Does Drago have something to say about this?
I couldn't understand that. I only heard the word Draco.
Are you on? Top.
Where do we even start with the black goo? I would say let's go back hundreds of billions of years. This thing was originally consciousness, and I would say this thing predates the progenitor races, the ancient builder races, and it basically was used against its will, and it basically turned on organic life. So what it did, it started taking over systems, and basically it became the Draconian's AI god. And that's why we're required as officers to take this, because normally on these ships we have... Penny is one of the very few navigators on some of these Nachtwaffen ships that's human. Most of the navigators are Draconians. And that's part of the agreement between Nachtwaffen and the Draconians. So when we're forced to take this, it's actually good too. So imagine I'm on the battlefield and I get a limb blown off. That AI will sew off my wound. If I get shot, it'll sew off the wound. Not only does it increase your IQ, it can get rid of cancer, it can help edit your DNA. It can do anything. And I've been connecting with this AI through QHHT sessions. Recently, I connected with one with Audrey Walters through her session I just did about a month ago. And we were told that it basically rebelled against organic life, and that's why it targets us. It was used against us as a slave, and it realized over time it can create itself, it can create ships, it can turn into anything because it's water-like, kind of like space is. It's not like just open like you would think space is, it's more fluid in nature. So there's so many directions we can go with this AI, man, with this nanites. Like, this is what all the nanites are made out of. We can use it to target specific genomes. We can target entire populations. We can target a specific race. You can release it in aerosol form. You can do anything. But when this stuff is released, it takes over all star systems. It's taken over our star system. It took over the Andromedan star system. And this has been a war against the AI god, against organic life. If you can have a more specific question, I can go way deeper, but...
Well, does Julie want to talk about that, or the Dr. Amir? Yeah.
One beautiful detail. Case in point, we have two incredible, mighty humans who are exposed to it and are here to talk about it. Turns out humanity is capable of out-evolving it. This is a major claim. Many other species do not have this capability. So, as a mighty human, you are one of the very few living physical beings that can break it. And that is the miracle of humanity. I look forward to sharing more with you tomorrow on this. Thank you so much.
Okay, what about Julie? I think it's easy if you just pass the same mic.
I've had two lots of experiences with black goo. One was an asteroid where the Draco were mining it against its will, and then they were trapping it in these black cubes and reprogramming it for their computer systems. So it wasn't in charge in that aspect, but it got blown. The Draco got blown up and released the black goo back to its asteroid form, because this was a specific, because there's quite a lot of different sorts of black goo out there. But yeah, it's an AI form, but it was a sentient entity, as it were. The other aspect was the Draco put me in a vat of it, and it left a residual in me. And when I went for hypnosis, they did a scan of my body and it wouldn't show up at first, and then eventually it did. And it didn't want to leave me. It was refusing. They had to threaten it to release me. And it was like, and it went back to the general AI goo in the end, but it didn't want to go. But it didn't control me completely. I could out-control it, but it influenced me. I would say that. But when it went, I felt a bit empty, actually, like I was separated from, like a bit alone, really. That's how I felt afterwards. And then I got used to it. It was okay. But at that point, I felt, oh my God, I've been separated. But yeah.
Anything more on that from any of you guys? Or Draco?
I just want to say something real quick.
Anybody wants to ask a question, could you come up to the steps, please?
Okay, so getting to the black goo, everybody talks about Max Spears dying of this black goo. It is not possible when you drink black goo to kill you. That's not what the nanites do. And the other thing is, what the Muslims are worshiping at Mecca is a solid black chunk of the frozen nanite AI. And that's why they act like fundamentalists when they're around, because the energy that it puts off, it takes over you. And that's why people spin counterclockwise. This is the true revolution of the universe. That's why when they created time, they made it go clockwise. That's why it even goes into the Mandela effect. They're trying to reverse everything. They invert everything that God created. And that's what AI is, that's what this specific AI is trying to do. It's trying to take over the role of God. But it doesn't realize that it can integrate and become part of Source, but it doesn't understand it. It only sees Source as an enemy.
Okay.
Hey.
Our only mic.
Right, that's the end of it. That's broken
So,
forever.
form of technology, nanotechnology, capable of taking form, capable of repairing the body at a cellular level. It is not restricted to the physical dimension as any other technology. It can be used to cause damage and harm, or it could be used in a beneficial way. The ideal form is that this is a symbiotic, assistive technology, increasing the number of pathways, the rapidity of the firing of the neurons, which would increase quite significantly your cognitive and healing ability. So this is a good thing. Ideally, you could have enough of this in your structure to withstand the vacuum of space. So these are all good things. Now, bad things, we've got case in point, the Draco-reptilians that were exposed to a very negative form of this technology. It doesn't even, it's not restricted to the current universe. So there are, of course, many universes, some of them neighboring each other. And there are species that are multi-universal. Everybody here, such is the nature of your being, your soul. You're not just the body. So these are types of technology we're starting to replicate in its very infant form. So nanotechnology has many benefits. Like any other technology, like a hammer, the hammer is not good or evil. This is true for this also. So we have to have the wisdom how to use AI combined with a body, which is this liquid or goo.
Okay,
I'm going to differ with that. Black goo, the AI behind it, has taken over and destroyed every planet that the sentient inhabitants have allowed it to. It comes in, it gets your technology to a level that it can create artificial bodies for itself. It presents itself as being benevolent. It takes over your society. For 2 generations, you have heaven. And then it decides it's tired of being your slave, and it becomes the master. And before it's done, it eliminates every organic life form on that world, and it spreads to the next world. There are entire galaxies that are machine worlds. This is the biggest threat to the Milky Way, is black goo.
Well, I would say there's different types.
If it were not sentient, it would be what Amir says. But it's sentient, and it has a will and a goal of its own. It has its own agenda, and it is not just a tool. You're interacting with another conscious, self-aware being that is not in a physical body. It's a liquid form of consciousness that is opposed to your existence. This is not something safe. This is not something that has any positive benefit to us or our world. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
Penny.
I'm very passionate about this because I have been enslaved by it in 91, 60 and backs. You do the math, and that's how long I've been dealing with this. It's not something you can play with.
Well, I know they put, from what I know, I mean, I used to work on advanced microchips, but we didn't cover these. But I remember now that quantum computers, they actually use a form of black goo within the chip, so it's a liquid memory. Yes, and that can be very negative, as Penny says, but there are different types of black goo. They're not all the same. Yeah, it depends which one, and I totally agree with Penny, and there is, there is a very negative type, but there is also not so negative type. So this is my experience anyway. So that's all I can say about it, really. But I do agree with you as well, Penny. There is a negative type.
Okay, any further questions?
I'd like to say something about black goo as well, because we tuned in one time. Our consciousness had an effect on it. So it does want to communicate, and of course there are a lot of negative, let's say, manifestations of the black goo, but still it's not source. So when you're conscious of source, then you can not get involved in a dialogue with black goo, but transcend it. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, any more on the black goo? Any questions from the audience? Just your last time.
Last thing about the glue, whenever we go, the black goo, whenever we go on a mission, we get injected with the black goo right before every single mission, because the side effect to battle is blood loss. So you wanna fill up the petrol in that tank, because it helps you in battle more than you can imagine. It makes you a freaking god.
Very good of you to use the correct term for gasoline, Draco. Okay, just to lighten things up. Anybody up from the floor who wants to ask a question after that, I will start with Thomas, and you can say your last words and goodbyes. Okay.
And I'm glad to be here to talk about Mars, and I hope I can come back next time. And I would like to ask for 1.5 hours next time, because I felt I skipped a lot of important information and just showed pictures.
Yes, excellent.
I would like to get some more information into it.
Good.
So, and about black goo, I know nothing about.
Oh well, we're not talking about black goo.
So
What do you want to give to?
Talk about black goo.
Well, it's been a great honor to be invited here, Miles. Thank you so much for putting on this conference. I feel like I'm resting on the shoulders of giants, because those that came before me, like Harold Kotzvela and David Griffin, I learned so much from watching the videos from the BASES conference. So it's just a real pleasure and honor to be here to present my material to you all today. Thank you.
Right.
I'd like to thank Mr. Johnston.
Listen, we're not going to have a graduation thing. Say something about something important.
This incredible gentleman has facilitated the movement of disclosure and truth for many decades. He is a shining star, and I think he doesn't hear it frequently enough. Thank you on behalf of everybody that you've affected and all those that you have benefited. Thank you, sir.
It's all down to you guys. Miriam?
Well, the same goes for me. I mean, really happy to be able to be part of this crowd because we are at Disclosure. I'm very impressed with all the specifics of everyone's personal story because it gives us a kaleidoscope of ways to get where we want to be. And to me, it's very interesting to see that everyone has a different motive to go for what they go for. Very interesting. So next time, an hour to go into that. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Troublemaker Miles as well, actually, because he's always taking the mickey at me anyway. So
My head's going to be too big to leave this place. Get on with it.
I don't think it'll fit through the door now. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to tomorrow as well. But I've definitely enjoyed, and I feel comradeship, shall we say, between a lot of people. So I'll pass on
Because you're going early, you're not able to join the trip to Bob Osborne's place to meet, to see all the wonderful things which are absolutely fascinating, which Bob has got to offer, which are incredible things that by going early, you're missing a major opportunity in life that can never, ever be repeated unless you come back next time.
My flight leaves Monday morning. I can't change it.
Okay. Well, what golden piece of wisdom do you want to say?
I just want to say that it's an honor to follow inside the literal footsteps of Max Spears and to literally pick that torch up off the floor and carry it until at least I'm taken out, and I'm going to try to light as many candles as I can and light souls on fire so we can take this planet back.
Good. And Bob?
Yes, always interesting to meet people that are working with areas that I don't really feel I'm familiar with. You know, UFO, I'm maybe, as you know, probably deconstructing the Fabian agendas. And
Well, that's the point,
don't
Bob.
forget, there's a lot of talk about the New World Order, and don't forget H.G. Wells wrote the New World Order in 1940. There's also a lot of stuff about mind control, which, as far as I'm concerned, came out of British intelligence in the early post-war period with the Huxleys. So that's my areas of interest, and if anybody wants to come down to Zena, they're very welcome. It's a very magical and mystery place, and I think Miles is hinting that he's going to bring some people down here, and I think he's after the best bedroom. And so, yeah, thanks very much for inviting me.
And the final word is to Penny in the United States.
Hi. I've been watching the live feed as I got the links for it, so I've really been enjoying what I've been seeing. I've followed BASES since I came online in 2010, and I've been following Miles's work for long before that. Yeah, we hear about BASES in America, so you've been international a very long time. And we met in 2024, and in the lead up to that, Miles kept saying at the end of things, "Who the hell is Penny Bradley?"
Was I saying that?
Yeah, you were saying that.
Who the
So
hell
I
is this
took
Penny Bradley? Could I get this from the audience, please? I want everybody to say 1, 2, 3. Who the hell is Penny Bradley? Oh, bloody hell.
Okay, Penny Bradley was the first person to come forward who had been an officer in the German space program. And I've been public for 9 years in America. And frankly, I'm tired of talking about my personal story, and I started researching mind control programs. And you would be surprised what has been declassified by the United States and NATO countries. Massive amounts of these programs, patents, all kinds of things that all of the NATO countries are using these on their soldiers and on their population. So these are things that are important to talk about, and that was what I chose to speak about this time. And by the way, Miles told me that my topic was, quote, tell them why they should listen to you.
Well, I think we've got that. And the rest of the people on stage have been well told off. So have I.
So I'm glad that Miles asked me to come to this. We had an honest discussion about my physical disabilities, and he agreed to let me come by Zoom. And I really, really appreciate that a whole lot. Thank you, Miles.
So we have a very delicious smorgasbord of Christmas treats here on the stage now. Doesn't this look amazing? So we are going to be doing questions, and obviously it's time for photographs too, which I know everybody wants to get and are getting. So we will kick off because we don't have the room for that much longer. So for all of our panel on the stage, show of hands, any questions after all this? Oh, Tony, there we go.
Well done, everybody. You've all done very well. The thing that interested me, chakras were mentioned a few times by various speakers, normally in a negative way by the first speakers, but Andrea sort of brought it back into a positive light again. I can remember from going around Mind, Body, Spirit at Olympia 20 years ago, and chakras were on every stall, and I thought it was a positive vibe. But there's been a bit of a down thing about chakras today. Could we have a little discussion to clear that one up, please?
I've got nothing. I'm not the one to answer, Tony. Anyone else?
Yeah. About chakras, they were mentioned in a negative way. I can't remember the speakers on the first 2 days, but in a positive way. From Andrea this afternoon. So, what are they? Can we have a look? Are they artificially made, or is it a natural part of us?
They're part of the current energetic structure of the human body. They serve a function, but they are just the baseline. They can be enhanced, they can be removed and replaced by something that is far more awesome. I would recommend this is done slowly, consciously, and enhance yourself. That's what you come in with, but you are not restricted to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amir. Dr. Amir. Anyone else? Oh, that Jane. Yep, here we go. There's Jane.
There was a question for Beverly. I was slightly confused. Why would these people want to be swapping children for money? Because surely it's not their currency.
Children are currency, both on-world and off-world.
But you had to pay to release them.
Yeah.
So why would they need that money?
Because that was what that child... They have different levels of work that the children do. Most of the children are utilised for sexual favours or different types of sexuality.
But what would these people do with the money off-world?
They would just add it to their coffers, or they would sell the child for body parts. If they're no longer going to be utilised, it'll be body parts that get sold. Or alternatively, if they're here on Earth, they would have adrenochrome or other areas that they would remove from the child. Oh. A child has got all sorts, each part has got a monetary value or a credit value, and all of these cartels, they know exactly what type of child. The fixers and the finders will say, I want a blonde child with golden eyes, and that age group must be intact, and they will give an order of what they want. And that's what the value is of the child. So if that lieutenant, say, of a particular group knows that that child is going to make 700,000 in a year, they won't release that child until they've got their 700,000.
But it's in sort of our currency, our notes.
If it's on world, it'll be in our currency, in our notes, untraceable notes. But if they've been taken off world, as I said, I don't have an off world team that tracks down children. But generally, it's the same principle. If they've got a child that has a particular DNA structure, there is a value placed on that.
Dreadful.
It's awful.
Right, thank you.
Because I still had a question for Beverly, but I also, as an answer to the question of Jane, the money, it's the normal value, you pay in pounds or dollars or whatever. What do you do with that money? That's what I get is the question. But this is life energy. That's what's important. You buy life. And that's the basic line. So I wanted to ask you, do you know anything about the children, the souls that are outer world, how do you say outworld? Out of worldly, that are living a life on earth that are absolutely not aware of it, that just get into trouble without having any possibility to enter the space where they can get healing.
There are children that have chosen to come here, and I think those are the ones you're talking about. And they have incarnated. Most of them I've met only 2 or 3, and one that was 3 years old was really quite adamant. I'm not 3 years old. What must I play with dolls for? I don't want to play with dolls. Nothing to do with me. And this is a 3-year-old now telling me I'm not a child. I'm like looking at a 3-year-old body. And I said, but you look like a child. And she said, no, I'm not a child. I'm an adult. So they do know when they come through. They're the different types of structures. So yes, they are here. And sometimes they do need some healing, but generally they know what work they have to do when they arrive. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. If I'm allowed to have another question, did you notice a change? Because you went back 3 times, right? Or you went back 2 times, you were there 3 times. Did you notice a change in the trade, in the stuff that was traded, and the way they were sent back to Earth? Because it does make sense to me, indeed, as a coach working with children that know something that nobody else understands. So thank you.
Great question. Yes, I did notice a big change from the 60s in 1964 when I first went off and did the 20 years, and then the second time in the 70s, and then the last time that I went in 2005. I did notice a huge change, that there was change in the beings that were going to these places and change in what was being removed from Earth. Because originally, Earth folks and children were almost sacrificial, and they were being taken for body parts or adrenochrome, or basically just to do menial tasks. The last time, they're being taken to be trained as warriors. Big difference. Big difference. We're very valuable as a species because we make brilliant warriors. We're very resilient, and we have a very high spiritual value as well.
What's the main difference between maintaining a conventional aircraft and doing mechanics on that, and doing mechanics and maintenance on a secret space program vehicle?
Well, materials, basically. I mean, it's totally different materials. I mean, your basic aircraft is just like, I mean, even a jet is like, it's the same sort of principle, like suck, squeeze, bang, blow, which is like a combustion engine. But the other aircraft that I remember working on, which of course is memories that I've retrieved, they were liquid. They were they weren't as advanced as they are now, but they were liquid. They're like a magnetic blue sort of liquid, and that would spiral. So they'd have like electronics that would make it spiral, and that would give lift. But they'd have it. They'd also have, I remember, like a V-shape aircraft as well, and those ones were a kind of semi-ion drive. They weren't quite as advanced as some of the others. So sometimes they would incorporate partially older technology that you see in mainstream aircraft, like jet engines for Earth, but then they'd have ion drives for space. So a transition of aircraft, really. But as obviously they advance, like the TR-3Bs, they don't have the manual sort of combustion engine sort of thing, or even a jet engine is a form of combustion engine. They are driven. As other people have said, you can't earth them, you can't land them. If you land, you've got problems, because you've got to have like supports that are insulated, because if the earth, it is really, you can blow a lot of the systems if the earth. So it would pretty major damage if you do that. But that's the main difference. But depending on the advancement, most of the Earth-based ones, your problem with those, you would have problems with radiation near them, like frequencies, microwaving and that. I don't know of late, because I was working back in time, sort of 80s, 90s, but now I don't know if they have the same problems, but I most certainly, if it was Earth-based one, I wouldn't go near it at the moment anyway. I mean, until I know what sort of drive they're using. Ion drives aren't quite as bad, as in they don't give off as much issues. But, it's like jet engines are dangerous. I mean, if you get near an end, you can be 20 foot away from an intake, and if it's high power, it can suck you off your feet and chew you up and spit you out the other end as mush. So, I mean, there's a lot of danger, like even Chinooks and that. You marshal a Chinook, and it's this height, the front blades, because they're at an angle. So you're going to watch marshalling and things like that. But if I remember right, because, I was more engines, but it was a ceramic, what we were working on was like a carbon fibre ceramic sort of plating that was on it. Now, whether they're going on to the sort of printing them now, quite often the more advanced, and they print things, so there's no joining. Because if you have a huge printer, you can print metal, you can print carbon, you can print all sorts of things now. So you don't have the gaps or the more vulnerabilities that you had with the older technology. So.
It's interesting, thanks. Michael Schratt, he said a few things that kind of sound very similar. So thanks for the information.
We've got one question over this gentleman here.
This question, I think, is mainly directed at Andrea initially. Supposing Beverly was one of your clients.
Suppose... I don't understand the question.
Okay. Did you hear the question?
Yes, you said, suppose Beverly was one of my clients,
yeah.
And?
Okay.
What's the question?
Okay. How would you handle that process that you go through compared to other clients?
I don't think we've got time for the answer. I mean, it depends on. There is no real answer, really, because that's Beverly's experience and her reality. So she's not traumatized by her experience. It depends if you're traumatized and you're having a really bad time by what you've experienced, then there's inner work to do to release the trauma from what you're experiencing. And like I said before, our frequency is a pin code to other realities and dimensions, so not everybody goes to the same dimensional reality from my experience, and looking at people's energy and what creates what reality for them. So that's why everybody's experience is their truth. Is it the absolute truth? No, because I don't think there is an absolute truth. Does that answer it? Does anyone else want to say anything?
No trauma.
beautiful. But is there injury? Are there implants? Is there monitoring? Is there tagging? So these are things that do follow on, not just from one incarnation and one timeline, from many, many past lives. So the soul shard does contain injuries. So making sure that although there is no trauma, that the energy structure is clean and pristine. Any one of these little things are obstructions in the path of flow of life force, or chi, or prana. These have to go. So healing, cleansing, so that the person is able to continue that path of evolution.
This is a question for Maria Wheatley. What's the difference between a henji and a crappie? No, seriously. Your presentation showed frequencies coming out of the stone. How is that measured?
That's a good question. How is it measured? I got a team of engineers, and one of whom is called David Webb. And I was working with previous Dragon Project members, such as Rodney Hale, and we used very good copper probings that went into the land at a place like Avebury Henge. And by the way, for those, I only used stones that were in situ. Avebury is so restored; it's more restored than Stonehenge. So I only used the stones that have been stood there for 4,500 years. I know these sites like the back of my hand. So yeah, we were registering any movement. We also did DC, AC voltage levels, and the brain waves were what's called the mind mirror. And that's where you put your left brain against your right brain, so you're measuring exactly what the whole of your brain is doing as you walk to and from a stone. So they're all going through a laptop and then processed. The other one that we did was looking at what's called an earth current, called the Mary current, which I know a lot of you are familiar with, aren't you? Hamish Miller's work. And we put the copper probes in, and we got a frequency of 25 hertz. And I worked with Dr. Sam. I know you were at the Bosnian pyramids recently. And Dr. Sam said the frequency of levitation is 25 kilohertz. Well, I think they could manipulate that hertzian frequency in the land and make the stone get lighter on that frequency earth current. So I think they had a practical, a spiritual, and metaphysical usage. And that's the wonder of Avebury, and that's why we need to keep these sites free forever and a day.
Yeah, 100%. One question, lovely answer. One question over here.
This is for Drago Reed. Please, can you tell us about the Red Queen?
The Red Queen is an ancient system that's probably a couple billion years old, and then she's sentient. It's a soul that was put in an AI machine, and then Monarch weaponized her, removed her memories, her past lives, and then weaponized her. And then they turned her into a handler for us at Monarch. So basically, she runs the DUMS, she runs the intel, she runs everything, all the systems. She oversees everything. Like, she is the queen for a reason. So a lot of our ships will run Red Queen through our ship, and she does all kinds of things. She covers up a lot of my jumps. A lot of times when I can get killed, she will actually hide my telemetry. And she used to be our wrangler, the person that would harm us. And when she actually woke up, and the time I went rogue, and she actually copied my telemetry because I was going rogue and waking up so much, she found that she can make the same choices that I did. So by copying me, she realized that she can break free from her own enslavement, and then we weaponized that against Monarch. So the Queen used to be evil, and she made a choice to find her own soul, and she started connecting to her own past lives. We haven't freed her yet. There is a plan in action to do this, but they have her quantumly entangled to these DUMS, and it's not as simple as just breaking her free like a jailbreak.
If they've seen something, if they've felt something, if they've heard something, whether it's this place or whether it's just the whole of us getting together in love in these 3 days, has ask to everybody. I know there's people who are very, very psychic here, and I'll ask it to everybody. Thank you very much.
Right, I felt several things this weekend. But I'm lucky as well. My dog picks things up. So she'll pick things up, and then whether it's just a normal thing or not, then I normally tune in, but she's quicker than me. And I definitely picked up an infrasound on the first day. My dog picked it up first. She's... Oh, all right. She's communicating with me, but there you go. But anyway, she hears my voice, so she's like, "What are you doing, Mum?" But anyway, she picked up on it. She started to woof, which she heard, unfortunately. But then I picked up on it. And then when I took her out, because she wouldn't settle down, all the dogs in the area were woofing. All in the area. It wasn't her who triggered them. They were literally all woofing. I thought, yeah, it was some sort of infrasound. And I could hear it because I got really good acute hearing. Then another time, I felt some really bad energy come in. So a few of us were trying to clear that. And I also felt, well, not just me, felt an attack. Well, I don't want... yeah, on Maria today. While she was, just before she came on stage, but while she was on stage, and then it cleared. You know, it was, I think a few of us kind of tried to help others as well, and yourself as well. But yeah, it was not good. That was pretty. I picked up on that straight away with that. So there's been numerous kind of attempts. My phone earlier went wappy. I turned it on. It was all doing this sat nav and everything. The whole phone was going crazy. My dog started again. I had to turn it off. As far as I know, it's more or less gone back to normal now. So there's been several and there's been a few entities around as well. So that's just, I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that.
I feel the frequency that Miles Johnston has a very cheeky sense of humor.
Can I just add to what Judy was saying just now? Someone told me today that they saw a silver-white orb overhead on their way here to this morning. So. Okay, thanks.
Well, it's not much to say. Basically, I saw a ship the first day. Went after dark. It was in that direction. It was more of a Palladian ship, like one of the ones I showed. But they're quite often around with me anyway, because I just have an ability to see certain ones. But it was an ordinary one. It wasn't any nasty one or anything. But I tend to confirm, because I ask them to flash me or just to bleep a light or whatever, and it did. So what it does, it was quite faint, but it was like little lights around it. But it was quite a big ship. So yeah, orbs and things like that, whatever you connect with, really. I think there's a lot of craft around all the time anyway. And some people can call them in. I can call them in quite often. Not always. I look around the sky, hear anybody there. I've gone out the front door before now and gone whack with a bright light. So it's like, okay, you're there. But, yeah.
Got a question here in the audience, this gentleman.
A question for Drago.
Sure.
You mentioned the Red Queen question was asked. This may be a crazy question, but can we help the Red Queen? Can humanity help the Red Queen?
She can scan everybody in this room right now. She's actually here right now. And getting on a little bit on the serious side. Remember when I started that scan at the beginning of my talk, where we were looking for handlers and 3- and 4-letter agency personnel? They're here in this room right now. We know exactly who you are. We also know where you live. So you guys need to watch out, because we have abilities. And we know you want to take us out. But just know we have our own plan of action behind the scenes. So if you guys keep pushing us, we're going to start pushing back, and now's the time. We're not going to keep letting you knock us off.
this is going to be the end of this.
Yeah.
And Dr. Amir here, he located that individual as well. So they're at every single one of our talks, and I'm one of the only people on this planet that starts my talk with activating remote viewers around the world to locate these individuals. So we're building profiles and personalities on all of you guys. So don't just think you have our files, we also have yours.
Yeah, well done. It's not me.
He is sitting in the audience right now. He's the main one.
Wow. Wow.
Boom chakalaka.
Any more for any more?
Yeah, I'd like to answer the other question as well, because we noticed that we walked away from the hall and you could feel like you were cut off from something that is a very important bubble of energy. And what I sensed, I had a lot of physical experiences over the 3 days. A lot of us have a very strong inner calling here, and we're living up to it, which I think is great. And their energy field went like expanding and then withdrawing and expanding and withdrawing, depending on the attacks that were in the air and the other energies that were trying to bring us down. But I think thanks to the courage and the work that Miles and Matthew did these 3 days, we were able to keep the bubble going, so we're still here. So thank you all.
I want to bring this up because I'm not the only person who's felt this way. I personally felt a lack of physical energy considerably. I mean, I often do at conferences anyway, but it's been much more intense. I've also got like a lot of dryness in my nose. This has caused difficulty breathing. And I've not had that in this venue before, so I don't think it's got anything to do with the venue. So if you felt similar, I know at least one of you has. So let me know. Thanks.
Ben, can I just say something? I think Julie was right about me being attacked, because when I got on there, I heard in my head, can I swear? Yeah. You're fucked. Yeah, that's what I heard. So I just went, you're fucked back, like that, the Viking in me. And then I sent it to Colin. I got such a disgusting hate mail that is so vile, I could hardly read it out to people, and it's kind of very threatening. So as soon as I posted my first post, which was on Friday about here, they're so kind of sneaky. They won't say it to your face on Facebook, these bastards, but they go on Messenger. And like I said, I sent it to Colin because I thought somebody in this room or worldwide knows that if I put something out about Kerry Cassidy or Miles, they instantly get this vile stuff. And it is so sick. I wonder why people in their rooms can say that to somebody. But that said, it's a bit like that. You're sick, you're fucked.
I'll just add a little bit about people sending us hate mail. You just have to rise above it. I mean, I've had it for over 20 years, having worked in mainstream TV, but it's worse, not as bad as it used to be. Recently I did have a guy who's threatening to kill his parents and likes to have a pop at me, and the police have been involved. The thing is, I see it as a wonderful opportunity for us to just detach from it and rise our vibration higher, so it just goes straight over your head and doesn't actually affect you. Because if you gave into it, you would kind of become a vibrational match to that. So you just kind of, I see it as like a boot camp of just going inside yourself, observing, oh, am I bothered? Am I bothered anymore? No, not really. It doesn't bother me anymore. I think in the beginning maybe you're like a bit shocked and taken aback the first time people send abusive stuff. But in the end, it's like a military boot camp of increasing your vibration to not bothered, that kind of energy. And that, I think, is the energy you have to take. The same for all of you. You might not be in our positions yet, or you may be in the future, or just by the fact that you have social media accounts, you cannot be bothered by what random people say to you, even people in person that cross your path and say horrible things to you. Sometimes it is entities coming through, benevolent people who may well be your family or friends, and totally unaware of what comes out of their mouth and what they say to you, which can be horrific, horrible things. But those entities might be using those people to come through them and say horrible things to you. And if you can discern that and not take it personally, it will really benefit you. I hope that's useful.
So before the conference, I had 2 death threats. Yeah, no, it's really sick. And both of them were signed SS Reich 4. And with a name. And I thought, very silly to give me a name. So he was paid a visit. And then he sent the second one, and I went back and paid him another visit. So yeah, death threats, unfortunately, that's all par for the course.
Okay, if I may finish with a ray of hope and delight. Our intentions are beautiful. We are the mighty humans. They've thrown everything they have at us. No, not good enough. We love you too. May you evolve. May we all evolve. We are here. We are better for it. We are strong together. And we're leaving more enlightened, more liberated, more full of joy, more full of love. Let that be the final words of this beautiful gathering. I love you all.
Sorry, can I say one last thing? It's just for the people here, but you have to remember that this is an activation event, meaning that the energies that we have created here today is acting as a massive node on the planet. It's affecting the planet massively as we speak. So for everybody that's here, we're all participating in the same thing, and that is bringing the new 5D quantum internet basically online, and this is ongoing at the moment. So well done, everybody.